I was on the left lane driving 250 and crashing all the other cars away and go out of my way. And now I was really slowing down a bit and really focusing on what is really important. And really important in life is to make a difference in other people's life. And this is what I really missed out in the past. I was not listening enough because this is a core competency. You know that, Nick, from ICF as a PCC coach also. Active listening, which means really listening. And this was a big game changer to me.
Welcome back to another episode of Limitless. Today we have a guest all the way from Germany with us. I'm so excited to welcome Gerhard Diel. He's the CEO of the Leadership Academy. We're going to talk about the Ironman mindset, the power of vision, discipline and coaching. And I know Gerhard for a couple of years as I went through my CCMC, which stands for Chief Master Coach Training with the ITD World. So it's really, really great to be reconnected here. Gerhard, a warm welcome to you. How are you?
Thank you very much, Nick, and nice to be a guest in your podcast. Thank you very much for inviting me, and I'm good. The weather is getting better here in Bavaria. We had some really cold days the last month, and starting from yesterday, the temperatures get up, and we can go cycling also outside, not only inside. Some words about myself. I was working in family-owned companies over 25 years in different roles. And as I joined then the CCMC course from ITT World, we met each other. And to all of the guests of Unique, you are a role model from my end. You're really living the life I want to live. And this was also the reason why I was getting self-employed last year. And I'm supporting executives, and that's my life now.
Fantastic, Gerhard, and it's truly inspiring to see you making that transition. And actually, the previous guest I had on the show just recently was about how to transition from the corporate world into setting up your own business, may it be coaching or consulting. I know there's a lot of people out there who have that on their mind, and while it's good to know what we want to do and bring the skills with us, we also need to bring the mindset with us. And that is why I think you are a perfect guest for that, because the Ironman mindset then is something that we need. Perhaps we need some grit to push through. So maybe we start there. When we talk about the Ironman mindset, what would that mean to you, Gerhard?
Yeah, as you know, I had an awful accident some years ago where I was close to death, which means this was really a turning point in my life. And also at that time, I was getting in touch with coaching. 5 years ago, I would say coaching is nothing for me. Go away with this. I want to avoid the word what I want to say, but I see how powerful it could be when you are open to that. And a game changer for me was definitely finding my life purpose statement, and in combination with really a mindset in place where you focus fully on your passion also, and putting away all the negatives is really something which everybody should do, thinking about going maybe also from the corporate life into maybe also self-employment.
And if we're then looking at the vision, because I believe you have a strong vision to be able to take that step. I know there's many people who are talking about making the move, but perhaps not so many that does it. What does it mean to you to have a clear vision?
A very easy person, which means I think very, very, very practical. And only to give you an example, I made my life purpose statement in October 2023, and I placed my vision afterwards also in an action plan I was working on with Dr. Peter G. And in this action plan, I put in that I want to go to Hawaii 2027 to the Ironman World Championship, and I want to get self-employed as a coach. And if you have this passion, vision, or mission, I compare this also into the corporate world, which means if you are an owner of a company and you have this clear vision in place, then you can align with everything which is then needed to be successful on the end of the day. And this is was also a huge game changer in my own mindset. asking for support and help with people who really want to help you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Gerhard. And then if we look at that Ironman mindset, and perhaps it's a discipline that we can, dig out here, because we got to have some discipline in order to do the training, rise and shine. I'm sure you pushed through some training sessions despite the cold winter in Europe here. So for anyone who's listening then who doesn't know what an Ironman event is, it's for those in Europe, it's a 3.8 kilometer swim, 180 kilometer bike, and then a 42 kilometer run, and all in one go, right? So for someone to do that, you need some discipline. And how has that discipline shaped your life, Gerhard?
Yeah, I think it is really important that you connect this also with what you really want. And if this is something which is really deep inside, and I was reading a lot of books also from David Goggins. I think you, Nick, know David Goggins. He is an ultra marathon runner. He was finishing also Ironman in Hawaii. He is really crazy, and he says also that everything is connected also with the willpower, which means finally it is really something, if you want it, and if the listener think back also in their past, if they really want something, and if it is in a company, for example, getting a higher position or getting only a higher promotion or a company car, you need to do several things to come to this target or to fulfill the requirements which are needed. And this is really where a mindset, an iron mindset, can help you to focus really on the activities which are needed to reach your target, to reach your goal. And this is then always what I say, also connected with the willpower, and the discipline itself is then doing the small steps also, which means you don't need to start with an Ironman, a full distance. You can start also small steps, and this is then on a consistent way. And this is also very important in my life, to be consistent also, because consistent beats everything on the end of the day.
Yes, absolutely. And I also loved Goggins, indeed, the grit he shows. That's something that I really picked up on. And in order to have this mindset, though, it takes something, and perhaps some of us have gone through some challenges. You mentioned about your accident where you nearly lost your life, and then somehow at the other end of that, there's perhaps some kind of appreciation for what we do, and you use that with positive energy to find your purpose and so on. Because if we don't know our purpose, then maybe we set the wrong goals, and we discipline ourselves to do something that is not in line with we want to go. So maybe we push hard but go in the wrong direction. What do you think about that, Gerhard?
I think this is absolutely well said, Nick, and it is really needed that you know more or less what you really want. If this is in a company, create a 5-year plan or a 3 years plan, and then really go into this direction. And of course, you will always have go a little bit left and go a little bit right. But the very important topic is here, really don't lose the final goal. This is what I see also. Of course, I have, in my point of view, this big goal going to Hawaii 2027. There is a qualification race needed to be placed 1, 2, or 3 in my age group, which is really a tough target, a tough something really to achieve. But I have now this really said out loud. I've do this also in my social media channels to be really accountable to that. And I think this is really important, that not only to think about it, only to say it out loud, maybe also to write it down. And then it is a kind of a commitment where you can then train your brain really into this direction, going to your goals. And yes, of course, if there are setbacks or roadblocks on the way, you have to deal with it. This is the life. This is how we get better on the end of the day.
Yeah. So we have the discipline, we have the grit, we have goal setting and so on. And What would you say that we can learn from endurance sport or Ironman training and bring that across to personal growth and personal goal setting? Is it something that we can learn from endurance sport?
I speak a lot to owners and CEOs at the moment, and you know that I have with my daughter together also a podcast we do also with international guests. Thanks for that you were joining our podcast also, Nick. And yes, of course, everything what I hear in the discussion with these guys is start with yourself, lead yourself first, which means get really an alignment to your goals, to your purpose, create an action plan. And this is really what you can do then also in sport, but also in life or in corporate environment, which means then if you have this in place to say, yes, I want to go for a marathon or I want to go hiking or something like that, spell it out loud. This is my target, register for something, and then do reverse engineering, which means what is needed to be able to achieve this goal, achieve this target. And this is definitely also something what I hear in my discussions with CEOs, with owners of companies, and with leaders. And yes, of course, and you see also in the background, it is the long game, which means it is not something you reach from one day to the other. It is something which needs time, step by step, going into the right direction.
Yeah, so that step-by-step approach indeed. And did you have that approach before your accident? I know you didn't seem to be so appreciative of coaching on that kind of mindset before. Maybe you can elaborate on that. What was the turning point there?
Yeah, maybe you cut it out later on, but if you would say to me 5 years ago, Gerhard, get a coach, I would say, go away with this bullshit. I don't believe in coaching. But think about sport. If you go for golf or tennis or baseball or any other sport, all of the persons I know in my life go then for a coach, for a trainer to get better. But what I don't see is they don't do it for their life or for their career. And this is really where I see a big misalignment, that people spend a lot of time and effort and energy in scrolling down in social medias and looking the life of others, but they are not willing to invest in themselves. And this was more or less also a bit the case on my end. I was always complaining about the circumstances I have in my life, and I learned really, no, I'm responsible for my life, nobody else will fix it. And this was a huge turning point also in my life. And getting in touch with people like you, with Dr. Peter G, with Dr. Marshall Goldsmith, really people who want making other people better and have a better life also on the end of the day. Yeah.
Fantastic. I'm so happy that you had that wonderful experience and happy that you came into my life as well. So what would you say have changed in your life if you compare before your accident and then before you found coaching? What have changed in your life, and how was that experience?
I think you can compare it with a highway, and I was on the left lane driving 250 and crashing all the other cars away and go out of my way. And now I was really slowing down a bit and really focusing on what is really important. And really important in life is to make a difference in other people's life. And this is what I really missed out in the past. I was not listening enough, because this is a core competency. You know that, Nick, from ICF as a PCC coach also. Active listening, which means really listening. And this was a big game changer to me, to find out not I want to change your life, you need to change your life itself, and I can support you. And this is really something which makes a huge difference in the mindset, in the thinking, and also then, you're a much happier person also.
Yeah, that sounds like a great transformation. And then you topped up with a CCMC, the Certified Chief Master Coach with ITD World and Dr. Peter Shi. What did that process unlock for you personally and professionally?
I think we as I would say normal persons, normal humans have these persons where we think we can never get in touch with them, where we think, yeah, they are great persons, they are great leaders, they are, great company owners, and we can't get in touch with them. And this is something what I learned really. They are also human beings. They really want to support you. And this was for me also a huge mindset shift that these people are really willing to help you if you help them also, which means a win-win situation. And this is what I learned really a lot through this process, also from CCMC, from ITT World. Create win-win situations, not only win-lose situations, because then this connection will break somewhere in the future, because this is not a stable connection. And this was also a huge difference in my life to turn my life into win-win. And that's really a game changer.
It's wonderful to hear that you had that experience, Gerhard. And if someone is listening today and feels stuck, what is the first step they should take towards a limitless life?
Yeah, I was thinking really a lot what helps really people to come into the situation to really change, because a lot of people are aware of, I need to change. For example, I want to lose some pounds or kilos, or I need to do more sport, but I think this is not enough. I think really the vulnerability to ask for support is also needed there, in combination with the awareness and also going out of the comfort zone. And these three in combination, if you have this in place and you get then in touch with a professional coach, and which has a certification, which means he knows what to speak about. And as professional coaches, we know that the most of the time we are listening. We don't speak. We only listen to the client, to the coachee, and then we ask these powerful, great questions, only to put out what is inside the client. And I think this is really something what I learned in my coaches also, that they say afterward, wow, this was really fantastic. One of them was saying, I have a small light, a small fire in me, but I don't get it burn. And now it's burning so much, which means, and this is great to see on the end of such a conversation or such an agreement.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Gerhard, for sharing your wisdom today about the Ironman mindset, the power of vision, discipline, and coaching. Just finally, if someone want to contact you, what's the best way for them to reach out to you, Gerhard?
Yeah, you can go to my website, which is www.gerharddiel.com, or you can follow me also on LinkedIn, also with my name, with my full name. And happy to support everybody also here in Germany, also or around the world. I know your podcast has now close to 300 episodes. I think a lot of people are listening, which means then, happy to support everybody here.
Fantastic. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Gerhard. And thanks to all the listeners as well. Have a great rest of the week.